Vertical gardening is just what it sounds like, growing plants up and down in a vertical plane instead of horizontally on the ground.
I'm just going to change those out.
Cindy Haynes, a horticulture specialist at Iowa State University Extension, is at Ryman Gardens in Ames to show us some creative examples.
Vertical gardening is great because it's a really efficient use of space. So even those who have really small gardens can grow things and grow them well with just a limited footprint. And in the home production garden, we have several great examples of vertical gardening. Behind me is the apple arbor, where we're actually growing full-size apple trees along an arbor and kind of training them to kind of create this archway. They're still producing apples, and it doesn't take up a lot of space and makes a unique feature here at the home production garden. We also have espalier as another example of vertical gardening. An espalier is a pruning technique where we're using pears or other fruit trees to kind of train them into a two-dimensional kind of footprint. And then finally, at the end of the arbor, we have the example of grapes. Grapes growing in a vine and training them on trellises as well. So everyone's seen a grapevine growing, and another good example of vertical gardening. There are several different vertical gardening ideas that you can do on a smaller scale. You can create a wreath or a picture frame where you're packing in different types of succulents. Or you can purchase window boxes that you can actually mount to the wall as well. Just fill these containers with some potting mix and start some seeds of beets or Swiss chard or lettuce, and then let it all kind of grow that way. There's some great ways to upcycle, to use some things around the house in vertical gardening as well. One of the popular aspects of vertical gardening is something called woolly pockets. So these kind of fabric pouches that you plant in that are affixed to a wall. And this is a shoe organizer that would work really well as a pouch kind of garden. Just each of these little containers where you would put a shoe, just put some soil and maybe a lettuce transplant or a parsley transplant, and then you can affix this to a wall as well. You can also take a 2-liter pop bottle and just cut out a square or rectangular piece, fill this up with soil, make a couple of drain holes, and then with some twine, attach this to a fence or a wall. So your container doesn't have to be expensive. And then finally, one of the best ways to upcycle is to use an old leaky gutter. Cap the ends of a gutter, cut it to the size of your deck or a railing, affix it to the railing, and then fill it up with soil and plant lettuce seeds or tiny kind of patio tomato transplants in them so that you can eat tomatoes and lettuce right at your patio or your deck. And then another idea that I've seen is actually using culverts, all those big tall metal culverts, and planting a container on the top of it and actually having things grow down. Just look around, you'll find something that you can upcycle to use in a vertical garden or a space on your patio or deck.
Whether you're working with a little bit of space or a lot, growing plants for food or for beauty, vertical gardening is a great way to add another dimension to your garden.